hearing you.
Just do our best.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's all you can do. That's all you can
Exactly. So why so busy? What's been going on today?
Oh, I teach full time. I just run all this as a volunteer.
Yeah,
Got 3 kids. I coach my daughter. Started an AFL football team for girls under 18. So had a meeting after work with school, and then I had to try to organise training tops and bags and uniforms for the girls, which we're in round 4, and we still haven't been able to get hold of them yet. So they just came through, so I had to go and pick up all of them and sort them out for the girls. We've got a training session tomorrow night, boxercise session, so with them. So they've been pretty keen, as you might imagine. Been the first time. I've only had 3 that have played AFL before, so pretty keen to get their gear so they can look nice and professional going to games. So yeah, it's been,
mate. You need a few more hours in the day.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. You're a long time dead, so you've got to. My philosophy, you've got to live life, and you waste a lot of time sleeping too, don't you? So if you can run which I've done with the charity really last 5 years, 16, 18-hour days to fit everything in. I've got 3 young kids as well, so try and stay involved with all their sport and school and life as well. So it's
the trick. The trick is just to sleep faster, mate. That's all you.
Yeah. Hey, how do you do that? Can you put can you put that up on your Facebook? That'd be a good one.
If you work it out, let me know.
Yeah, actually, that is. I'll put that up. I'm going to put that out there. Matty said we need to find someone who can get us to sleep faster. That's all we need.
That's the trick, mate. Tell us about the 3 kids. How old are
they? Thomas is 17, so he's doing year 12. Good little sportsman, AFL footballer, and he's playing in the first footy team. So been lucky enough to coach him all the way through from Auskick and in the local leagues down here, and now gets the opportunity to play at the elite schoolboy level. He's at Penley Nesson Grammar School, which is one of the best schoolboy footy teams in Victoria. My daughter's 15, so we get to Lily. So I'm coaching her in AFL this year and did the same last year, and she's a really accomplished sportswoman as well. She won competition medals in gymnastics and goes right at basketball as well. And then my youngest son, Benjamin's, what's he up to now, 11. Lucky enough to coach him to under-10s AFL premiership last year, and also basketball premiership as well. Good little sportsman coming through, and so that keeps me busy, being involved with all those kids, and it keeps you in the community. And as you'll sort of find out, the whole reason I set this up is to get these kids out there the same opportunities my kids and the kids that I've taught and the kids that I've coached in communities through sport, the same opportunities.
Yeah, that's awesome, and hats off to you as well. I know too many parents that just don't have time for after-school sports and whatnot, and yet here you are looking after all 3 of your kids. So definitely a pat on the back, mate. That's great.
Oh, it's just, I love it. You gain so much. It's a privilege. I've been lucky enough to be a primary school teacher for 22 years, and that privilege, and really it is an honour to be involved in kids' lives, and then to get those opportunities. I've coached community sport for 20 years as well, junior basketball, cricket, football, and now going into AFL women's and helping develop that and give those girls the opportunity. It's seriously, you gain so much more than what you give away. That's for sure. It's just great fun and great to be a small part of these kids' lives with something they remember forever as well.
Exactly, mate. And what wife at home?
Yes, she's a school teacher as well, and most amazing lady. You can't do what I do without having someone that's supportive of everything. We travel up to the Northern Territory at the drop of the hat, and we've done some work overseas in Fiji and New Zealand, and hope to get over to India and work with kids in there, and been asked to go to Sri Lanka as well. And such an amazing lady, and without her support at home and her work with the kids when I'm not there, you can't do it. And that's the whole thing with anything. It's just your support network, and my kids are all involved with it. My family, my wife's family, and now luckily through Facebook and Instagram, we've got people all over Australia, and that's the reason I set this up as well, to give people an opportunity to be involved at any level. We've got 5-year-olds contacting me, donating their tooth fairy money to buy footies for kids in other parts of Australia, up to retired people that want to, like James Sutherland, a community football coach that wants to give back and give opportunities to kids in need, and seeing the power of sport. I mean, Nelson Mandela said sport speaks to youth in a language that they understand, and he's dead right. And then he went and he proved that by unifying his country at the end of apartheid, the 1995 World Cup.
In the World Cup, yeah, exactly.
People don't have to listen to me, and that's for sure. If you look at him, and he's one of my mentors and inspirations to see what he did with his life, and the hardships he put up with in prison, and yet when he came out, all he was thinking about was unification and to move on, to make his country a better place and make the world a better place. And that's what we've been lucky enough to do through thousands of people in Footies for All, using sport to get to those kids, to give them hope, really, too. We travelled up to the Northern Territory before Christmas on the Gulf of Carpentaria. It was 9 hours in the plane on the day. I was actually only on the ground for 2 hours, and the reception we got from the Aboriginal community of just coming to see them and thinking of them, the hope that brought. Forget about giving them the balls and the clinics and all the fun and the excitement and the power of sport. It was actually just making an effort through a lot of people to go and see someone and say, yeah, we care about you. We know you're doing it tough, but you're not on your own. Footies for All's here, and all the people supporting Footies for All, and here to say, keep going, keep doing it, and don't give up. Basically, don't give up on yourself or your people.
That's awesome.
And that's makes such a difference to people.
100%. Well, mate, before we get into that, because obviously that's a big part of what I wanted to chat to you about. Take me back before that. So you said you've been teaching for 20 years. How and why did you first get into teaching?
Now, I've been very lucky through my family. My mum and dad are teachers, and I went to Penley Nesson Grammar School as a student. My dad taught there, and now I'm lucky enough to go back there as a teacher as well for 22 years.
Same school?
Same school, yeah, same school.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing school. It's a private school in Melbourne, and it's elite facilities and elite opportunities. And again, I mean, it all ties back into why that I set the charity up from scratch, because I've seen the opportunities that elite kids have got through education and sport, and wanted to give that back to community and to give opportunities to those kids as well. And just saw the passion and the caring nature of my parents, and the way that they inspired kids. My dad was a maths teacher, a very good maths teacher. My mum was a history and geography teacher, and the changes they made through their core subjects that they taught. And really in life, from what I've seen and what people have mentored with me, it's leading by example. And if you're modelling good manners and respect through your teaching, you can really make an impact on kids. So from seeing them, my mum was also a volunteer probationary officer, and volunteered with special needs children in Sunbury. There was they called it, it's obviously politically correct now, it's not called a lunatic asylum. And I went up there and volunteered with her one day when I was about 14, when they had a strike on. There was no staff. And to go in there and to experience what it was like in these places for special needs people, which was basically just a prison.
How old were you then?
14.
Wow, that would have been eye-opening for you.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I still remember it today. I mean, one of the young men in there had a epileptic fit, and I and the other people. What I gained from that was the community inside, from the people that were in there, and they were in horrific conditions with the food, and you can imagine. We're talking 30 years ago. The conditions that these people were housed under, and the way that one of the men collapsed and had an epileptic fit because he was special needs, obviously, and the way that the other residents ran around to help him and to support him, and told me, my mum was in another area feeding the residents, and told me what to do, to put a pillow under his head and to look after him and be okay in a couple of minutes, and he was. And that sort of resonated with me and stayed with me, as did my mentoring from my parents. To when I finished school, had the opportunity to go into teaching. And
can I just jump in there, because that's pretty significant. Like, my boy's 14 in a couple of months, and I think if he'd seen a place like that, it would stick with him. Did those sort of events steer you stronger towards becoming a teacher, or did you sort of go, oh shit, I don't want to really be a part of this?
I think I'd say it just affected. I wasn't thinking about that in year 12, and I wasn't sort of thinking about being involved in that way. But having said that, once I got to uni and was teaching, I did a subject in special needs as well. So I think deep down, it did shape me who I was. And we also met a lot of my mum's troubled youth that were involved in the probationary program.
Sure.
And I saw the difference she made with those kids as well. And most of it comes back to, again, not having a strong family, not having strong leadership and positive leadership, and having the ability to, you don't know how to behave properly if you're not seeing it around you and you're not being encouraged to be respectful and follow the law.
Well said. Yeah. Okay, so fast forward, grade 12, you are adamant about teaching. Would you say that's a fair comment?
No, not really, to be honest. I was...
What were you adamant about? Drinking and girls?
Yeah, basically, like all young men. Also, cooking. I love cooking. I wanted to be a chef, but Mum and Dad weren't too keen on that. So they steered me into... my first preference was actually arts at Melbourne Uni. I'm glad I didn't get it because I'm terrible at... well, not terrible, but I don't think I like to write too many essays all the time. And I just missed out. I got 290 and I needed 300 for arts at Melbourne. And the second preference, Mum and Dad said, look, you're really good with kids. And, we spoke about, obviously, what I'd seen with special needs kids and what my parents had seen. And, I love playing footy and interacted well with the kids in the street. And she said that... Mum and Dad thought, you'd be good at teaching and you're a good communicator. And I said, all right, we'll give it a go. And, I had the best 3 years of my life. Met my wife at university as well. And, just amazing experience to go there and to do that and then to gain an opportunity. I did a lot of emergency teaching and spent some time in Broadmeadows, which is a low socioeconomic area of Melbourne.
Yep.
And, where your parents would rock up to pick up at 3:30, drinking openly, and there was a lot of kids their fathers were in jail or their fathers had shot through, or there was 6 or 8 kids in the house. Mum and Dad were at the pokies and drinking at night, and the oldest kid, who was 12 in grade 6, had to cook and clean and look after the kids. So really learned a lot about society and children, and very different from the kids at Penley Desson Grammar School, which is an elite private school, and gave me a very good grounding. I mean, we had one recess, we had the kids all ran into the staff room where I was, and said that one of the kids was about to hang himself in the shelter shed, and we had to run out there, and he'd thrown a rope over the ledge, and, we had to grab the kid before he jumped off a chair and, just stop.
How old was he?
Grade 6, 11, 12 years of age.
Wow, this is in Broadmeadows.
Yeah, that's right. And, and again, the resilience, you heard the stories, and some of the girls would be coming back, and the year after they left grade 6 pregnant with a child. And
at 12,
13 years of age, and that happens a lot in low socioeconomic areas that are uneducated, and I take my hats off to the teachers that are involved in these schools and the special needs schools I've been lucky enough to visit now over the last 5 years. That they're the inspirations, they're the true heroes, not your people on the sporting fields. That's for sure.
Yeah. Can I touch on that? That's really interesting, and I'm sure people would like to know a little bit more about it. How long did you stay out at Broadmeadows for?
I ET'd on and off for 2 years. We had a school there, which now it's actually closed down and got bulldozed. I went out there because a lady that was my mentor actually has become a special needs principal around the corner, and and I've caught up with her, and we reminisce about those days, and you gain a real respect for the kids, their resilience, that their ability. Like I said, there was 4 or 5 kids in one house, and the 12-year-old girl was in charge. So Mum and Dad would go out for the night drinking and on the pokies, and she'd have to cook and clean and do the homework with the kids and get them to bed and get them up in the morning and get them organised for school and get them some lunches if there was any food in the house. And, you listen to those stories, think, hang on a minute, if I'm I'm working 12 hours a day or not getting much sleep, I'm going all right. And the resilience that I've been lucky enough to meet in so many different situations. We've done a lot of volunteering in prisons and juvenile justice centres through the program as well. And the ability of kids, I'm having a tough time. And compared to my own kids, you'd be just pulling your hair out, but they just keep going. They just keep going on with it, and hopefully they get some positive mentoring and an opportunity to break the cycle.
Exactly. Well said. So you've seen both sides then. Somewhere like a school like that versus the school, I'm assuming, where you are now. My question though is more of a general one. Like, what makes a good student, do you think?
I think confidence, self-belief, resilience, and being in an environment that creates that and allows the student not to be afraid to make mistakes too. The students that fail more and then learn from that, that mistake, or that, they tried to do a maths problem, it didn't work out. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, it didn't work out. Let's use a different strategy. That didn't work. Okay, let's use a different strategy. That didn't work. So the kids that can build their resilience too. Okay, I've made a mistake. That's just the way that it didn't work. Okay, let's try this way. And the teachers that build their confidence in being able to problem solve and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. They're the life skills they're going to need when they finish school 100%. Or when they get out into their local community, or if they're in their local sporting club or music club or orchestra. And to build, we've seen a big shift with the screens coming in over the last 5 years in education that has taken away, in my opinion, the ability of kids to communicate and problem solve, because, kids are on a phone or an iPad nearly since they're 3 to 6 months old. So now, as a teacher, I'm having to teach a lot more conflict resolution, face-to-face skills, because those lessons that they've usually learned at home, it's not happening anymore because everyone's in front of the screen. So, and they, when they get into the real world, the screens are involved, but there's still so much face-to-face communication that needs to be had as well.
Yeah, got it. What would you say is the biggest difference between a low socioeconomic school versus a private school like where you're at now?
Oh, facilities, no doubt. Just facilities. I've met some amazing teachers in both areas. The teaching quality, the passion, the care is there in both areas. The support, the parental and community, and the parental support is more in the. They value education a lot more in. I'm talking generally, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
In the private school education that I've been so lucky to be a part of. But the resilience, the kids are the same. They're the same. Exactly the same. They want to learn. They want to please. They want to achieve. And you've just got kids that have got more opportunity to do that in a more safer or more conducive learning environment, really. And a lot of kids that I met in Broadmeadows when I was teaching there and in surrounding suburbs really wanted to achieve and wanted to learn just as much as the kids in the private school. And a lot of their parents didn't value the education because a lot of them didn't have it, or most probably 30 to 50% of the time the parents just weren't there. They'd shot through, or they're in jail. So they just didn't get that positive mentoring about education either.
Yeah, got it. In saying that, and I know I'm sort of throwing you in the deep end with these questions, but I am really interested. Do you have any success stories from Broadmeadows kids that have gone on to do awesome things with their lives?
Oh, I'm sure there is. It's been a long time.
There's
I taught there 24 years ago now. So I was only there in and out for 2 years. But I mean, Matt Guy, who's one of our Footys4All rugby ambassadors, he tells me a story. He grew up in Western Sydney's with his 3 or 4 brothers. And he's saying a lot of the friends that he was with have ended up in jail or dead even through negative choices. And it was just because someone put a rugby ball in his hands and in his brother's hands that enabled him to gain an opportunity, get to a club, and he saw that here's a chance for me to break out of that cycle. So there's plenty of kids out there that have done it and will continue to do it, and it just comes down to them, someone caring about them and giving them that opportunity. That's how easy it is.
That's awesome, mate. And that's a good segue into Footies for All. You know, it is about care and actually giving us stuff about kids and the path that they go down. My initial question around that is, when did you first think this is something I want to start?
Yeah, when I turned 40. Most people have a midlife crisis and trade the wife in for a younger version, buy a red Ferrari, and I reckon I haven't met anyone that started a charity, so that was my midlife crisis, I tell you. And everyone who meets me tells me I'm crazy, and you'd have to be crazy to do what we've done, but cheapers, it's worth it, and wouldn't change a single thing over the last 5 years. And I was coordinating the Aberfeldy Auskick down here in Melbourne, and we had 140 kids playing Auskick from 5 years to 10, and 30 coaches. And one of the dads came down and offered we needed some more facility, some more equipment, and he donated. Michael Egan from Egan's group donated $3,000, and he asked me to put $1,000 of that money towards. And he didn't even have a son, and I'm still friends with him. He's involved in the charity and actually played chess. I'm a chess coach at school as well.
Oh, nice! I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I played chess with his young son Declan on Monday night, and he actually beat me, so I'm obviously getting old. I'm coaching too well, Matty. I don't know. It's
exactly.
One of the two.
I think I need some pointers too.
Don't play the young kids. Trust me, they're pretty smart. Nice. So he donated $3,000, asked for $1,000 to go to disadvantaged kids in sport, and so I had some friends teaching in the territory, so I just went down to Rebel Sport and bought some footies and sent them up there. Yep. I knew that Malmesbury Women's Prison in Victoria houses kids from 0 to 5 years, so I just rang them and went up there and donated some balls into their programs for the kids living in the prison. And started to get some photos back and started to get some responses back, and saw the huge impact that it made. And I thought, well, I've also commentated AFL with regional and commercial radios down here. I've commentated on the National Indigenous radio service, done some work for National Indigenous TV through sport, also worked with the Brisbane Lions in recruiting part-time. So I had a huge, as well as my 22 years of work at Penley Nesson Grammar School, had a huge network of people. And I thought, and again, I sort of thought about my own mortality. You're more likely to die in your second 40 years than your first 40. And even though I thought I've done pretty well to make a positive impact in society through my teaching and coaching, I really wanted to make a difference to kids that weren't getting that hope and opportunity. And I thought that all I've got to do is link up all the good people I've met in my life through the teaching, through the footy, through the commentary, through the media, to get involved, to really create something special. And, kept coming back to Nelson Mandela's comment that sport speaks to youth in a language they understand, that it could be as simple as just giving these kids a ball from Footies for All and to give them that hope. And here's your opportunity. It's not just a ball, it's the whole tangible pathway to whatever you want. You can become a professional sportsman, or you can just use it to get yourself fit, or you can play with your brothers and integrate in the community. You do with whatever you want with it, but here's a chance for you to make something of yourself through a positive pathway. And 5 years later, it's seriously astounding that it's worked out exactly as I planned, that all the good people across Australia, and now we're sort of doing some work in Fiji and Africa and India through different charities. It's making such an impact, and it's as simple as just a ball. That's all it is. It's a $20 donation gets a ball. Around Australia, TNT got on board and do all our distributions for free. Nissan gave us a car and supported us in that way, so that I can, we're in Adelaide at the start of the year doing some work with the Adelaide Footy Club and the Port Adelaide Football Club, and we've driven up to Sydney and done some work in Redfern with some Aboriginal groups there. And really, the world's your oyster if you can just continue to link up. And it's through the power of Facebook too. Facebook, all you hear at schools and education, how bad it is. I tell you what, it's just been amazing for us. And
exactly. And let me jump in, mate, because just to tell me if I'm on the right track. So basically, Footies for All is a not-for-profit organisation.
Yeah, registered charity, so
Registered
PBI.
charity. Got it, yeah. And you and your team will get the footies to people that may not necessarily be able to afford them, or maybe in a time in their life, or they have kids themselves that kicking around a footy is going to be a better couple of hours spent for them than what they would normally do.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just footballs. We're lucky enough, Steedon have backed us through rugby league. Gilbert have backed us through have backed us through rugby union. Gilbert have backed us through netball as well. I mean, Ross Faulkner's he's donated over, and you can see there his Indigenous brand there through his grandfather. He's donated over $200,000 worth of product for us. And there's a real passion for getting. I mean, we've seen so many Aboriginal kids in all sports. I mean, Paddy Mills just won the NBA finals over there with a buzzer beater with a 3-point shot, and there's so many of those kids out there in all sports that we've got to get to and give them that hope and give them that opportunity and give them that positive pathway, and that just makes such a difference to them to think. And they all got TVs, they've all got phones. I've been lucky enough to go to lots of remote communities on Elcho Island, also in Yarrabah and Cairns. And, they watch the TV. They see their idols on TV with these balls, and to give them the same ball that they're seeing on TV. And that's great support from Steedon and Gilbert and Ross Faulkner and Moulton basketballs as well. To have that tangible, here's the ball that I see on TV. And then straight outside, they're doing what they're seeing on TV. They're not getting involved in crime, drugs or alcohol. When we went to Yarrabah a couple of years ago, we distributed over 500 footies on the last day of their school term. And I've got a letter here from the principal that said for the first time ever they had no crime over the school holidays because all the kids had something to do. Matty, it's not rocket science. It's just Footies for All. That's
impressive, mate. Well done. So it's awesome that it's not just footies. There's netballs, there's union balls, and all the different sports. Is there other sports that's in your head that you want to get involved in?
No, I think we got them covered. I think we got them basketball, rugby union, rugby league, volleyball. A lot of volleyball actually.
Yeah, okay.
Rising in Fiji and a lot of overseas countries, and the Aboriginal girls play a lot of softball up in the remote communities as well. So that's something we sort of haven't got into just yet. But
I remember I'll tell a quick story. I remember I was a part of a. My job was a sporting coordinator, getting sports going, and I wanted to get this volleyball comp going. And anyway, I had this husband and wife, Samoan husband and wife, come in and they said, "Oh, do you have volleyball?" I said, "I really want to get a volleyball comp going, if you know anyone." And they said, "Oh yeah, we'll bring some friends on Thursday night." I said, "Yeah, come down Thursday night. Bring a couple of friends." 200 Samoans turned up. I couldn't believe it.
They don't travel alone, do they?
All these little minivans and minibuses. It was incredible.
How many volleyballs did you have?
I didn't have enough. I should have called you.
Yeah, you should have. We would have looked after you and sorted you out, that's for sure.
Exactly. Cool, mate. So tell me a little bit about who's involved and your ambassadors.
We're very lucky. I mean, you can't get better than Professor Pat McGorry, the 2010 Australian of the Year through services to mental health on our board, and really another positive mentor of mine. You've seen what he's done and continues to do and fight every day. I mean, you look at Headspace, you look at indirectly Beyond Blue, you look at now the stigma attached to mental health is decreasing every day through his life's work, really. And to have him involved with us, mentoring me and helping us on our way, as well as there's Dr. Nathan Grills. He's not too well known, but I tell you, he's an amazing man from the Nossal Institute of Global World Health down here in Melbourne University, and travels a lot to India and works with special needs kids up in India. And I'll tell you the story of he went up there, and obviously cricket's pretty mad in India, and
just a little bit.
Can't really send over wooden cricket bats with them. So we send over tennis balls, and the Indian kids can play with a stick. They can play with a pole off a fence. They'll play with anything they can find. And he went into a village, and unfortunately in India there's a lot of superstition around and caste layering that the young kids that are special needs are basically ostracised and kept in a probably like basically a hut, your outdoor shed, on their own to fend for themselves. And he goes into these areas with volunteers and works with the kids and tries to give them some hope and integrate them back into the community and get the villagers to see they're not cursed, they're not bad, they're just special needs. And he took in a heap of our tennis balls, and he was with his volunteers working with the kids and rolling the tennis balls and throwing them up. And within 5 minutes, the kids of the village that normally throw stones at these little kids, you're talking from babies. It's it's just it's heartbreaking that they're treated this way. Anyway, they usually spit on the kids and tease them and just do horrible things to them. They came over and asked Dr. Nathan Grills, what's happening. And, we started to get involved with the kids, throwing the balls, rolling the balls and playing with the kids. And, Nathan said to me within 15 minutes, they realised the kids were just the same as them. And, when they left the village 3 hours later, the kids were integrating as normally as the other kids, and all through the power of a 50-cent tennis ball and someone showing some care and someone giving them some hope and some opportunity. And really, that's as simple as it is and as complex as it is, isn't it?
Oh, mate, that's fantastic. What a great story.
Yeah, it's just, and we've had that, replicated. We went up to, when we were up at the Tiwi Islands, Michael Long, just the AFL footballer, is one of our ambassadors, a legend with the Essendon Football Club, and really just, again, another inspiring mentor of mine through his leadership of his people and to do what he did through AFL, but then to keep going with it with the long walk. And now he's involved with Royal Recruitment with a friend of mine, Christian Gaylard, which is involved in getting Aboriginal people opportunities and employment. He's dedicated his life to his people. He was giving away a ball. We were up there at the Tiwi Islands, and obviously there's crocodiles everywhere, and you don't go in the water even though it's 45 degrees and 90% of humidity. And we're on a boat just coming back. We went to the Tiwi Island Grand Final and gave away with Robbie Peden, 5-time Aboriginal world boxing champion, gave away balls to the kids. And then the kids obviously spread out everywhere throughout the day, and we were getting back on the boat to go back to Darwin from the Tiwi Islands. And one of the footies came flying out of the beach and into the water and started floating away. And the next minute, here comes a little Aboriginal kid and, flat out, 100 miles an hour, jumped in the water and swam out 10 to 20 metres and grabbed his footy and then went back. And Robbie Peden, the boxer, turned to me and I said, he said, isn't that great? And I said, yeah, it's fantastic. He got his footy. And he said, and then he said, no, Michael. And I looked at him a bit closer and he had tears in his eyes. He said, that kid's just risked his life. They don't go in the water. There's, you can get eaten by crocodiles, and you do. 100%. They don't go in there, and that's what his footy meant so much to him. He's risked his life to go and get his footy that you and your organisation has come all this way to give, and that's, people say to me, it's just a ball. It is to adults. It's not to those kids, because that's all they want. You remember sleeping with your footy and, the plastic brown footies back in the day that we got free.
Leather ones, yeah. Oh, and the plastic ones, yep. You showed your age there, mate.
Yeah, you took them to bed and you slept with them because that's all you wanted. And then you get up and you'd kick it around before school, and then you kick it around commentating yourself in your backyard. And all kids are the same. I've never met a kid that's different in relation to they just want to be the same and want that same hope and opportunity. And we just had amazing support through, and so many normal people, just everyday people that have got something out of sport and want to give back. We had a group through one of our board members, Travis Clayton, and his wife Monica Clayton, took 22 under 15 footballers from the Greensboro area here in Melbourne up to Aboriginal community in Yarrabah, where we've linked up to an amazing man. He's one you should talk to too, Matty, Jimmy Floyd. And he gets in his bus, drives over the ranges there in Cairns, at the back of Cairns, and goes house to house to the Yarrabah Aboriginal community And he has such respect that he can go in there and he'll just drag the kids out of bed and he'll throw them into the bus and drives them back on a Saturday morning, and they play footy for him, this Aboriginal football team. And we were lucky enough to meet up with him and to distribute balls with him, but now run a program where we take Melburnian young girls up there so they can learn about the Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal heritage, as well as supporting them and giving them hope and opportunities through sport. Now we've developed a program where they can learn about the positiveness of an Aboriginal family, how it doesn't matter if you're third, fourth, fifth cousin, you're welcome in my house, you're welcome to my food, you're welcome to my car, my clothes, to learn about the amazing Aboriginal art and Aboriginal music, and to just to experience their love of life. They're such happy people, and a lot of them don't have much and they're doing it tough.
Exactly.
They're so welcoming, and that doesn't happen here in Melbourne, where most of us have got a house and so much stuff and food that
more than we need.
Yeah, that for whatever society is, you close down and you stay within your network, where the Aboriginal people look after themselves all the way through, and happy to look after others as well.
Exactly. And I found that in a lot of countries too. Like I was in Vietnam late last year, and very much like that. Open up the house to anyone. That's awesome. Mate, what I'm starting to get is that from Footies for All, and from these little bits of air and rubber and leather, it's opened up all these opportunities and these experiences for you that you may not have gotten just by being a Monday to Friday school teacher, if you had just done that. I'm really interested to know, what is Footies for All in the next 5-10 years for you?
Yeah, we've been talking to government. My plan is to roll it out across. We've great support down here from the state Labor government, the Sports Minister John Aaron, the Police Minister Lisa Neville, the Educational Minister James Molino, and I've been talking to them for the last 5 years. And I know sport works, and I know this program works, and I know that the kids need it. And I'm not going to stop until we get to where we've got to. They've given us a list of 120 schools, 86 special needs schools, and whatever, my maths are not too good at this time of the night, Matty. We're about 30.
34 to go, yeah.
Yeah, around about 30 low socioeconomic schools across the whole of Victoria.
Yeah.
And the plan is to gain funding through private or through the state government to run the program where we go out to one school a week over the next, so that's 40 schools a year, over a 3-year period. Once the organisation gains the funding to go to those schools, we run a clinic with the kids. We've done a pilot program where we've linked with the Victorian Institute of Sport and obviously our ambassadors, sporting and business, and bring them to an assembly with the kids and have a chat about them following their dreams and going into a positive pathway. And then we get them to choose what kind of ball that they would like to take home. We're having some great success in relation to continuing with those meetings. I met with the Police Minister a couple of weeks ago, and the plan is to roll it out over 3 years in Victorian schools, and then we've got a footprint in every state of Australia. And we've got some good support in South Australia, Western Australia, also in Tasmania, Queensland. We've done plenty in the Northern Territory, and the plan is to roll that out across Australia. And then my big plan, the 10, 15, 20-year plan, is to get it to America. The American people are just as sport mad as we are. Yeah. The kids are I haven't been there yet. The people that have been over there said the youth are as troubled as our youth are, and the power of sport will give them that opportunity. And they're very philanthropic, the people over there. So I know the business and the government, whether Donald Trump's still in power in 20 years' time, will certainly be interested in what we're doing. And, that's the plan, to start rolling it out across American states and American schools, and as well as getting to the smaller places such as India and Africa and giving those kids the opportunities. We've had some amazing stories of charity we're linked with, Hands at Work, through another mentor of mine, Phil McLaughlin, who I grew up with and was lucky enough to have mentor me in my youth at 15 to 20 in Sunbury, where I grew up, and been in Africa. And he works with 60,000 HIV orphan kids. and goes over there and volunteers his time and takes netballs and soccer balls over to the kids. And, you know, they've got no food, they've got no families, they've got no shelter. And for someone to turn up out of the blue and to care for them and try and get them some food and some shelter, and then put up a netball pole with just a stick with a round bit of metal, or clear an area of rock so they can kick a soccer ball around, has had huge impact. And the same with India we've spoken about. And Fiji, we're linked with a group called Island Breeze Rugby Plus, and they bring Fijian rugby players to Melbourne. They house them in the YWAM Christian area, get them into the local clubs, and then if they're good enough, they go to the Melbourne Rebels. And one of their success stories of a young man called Safia who is currently playing for the Australian Wallabies team. And I was lucky enough to go to his island in Overlau, meet his dad, who took me to a patch of rocky sand and said this is where he began, where he was throwing his footy around. And, you know, we're supporting the program to bring the next one out and to make that difference across the world through sport. That's
great, mate. And that sort of ties into my next question, which was about, I don't know if the word is a legacy, but the question was going to be, when you drop off a footy and then you leave that town or the school or whatever, you know, what do you hope, or what is the goal from there? Like, you know, they're going to kick the ball around for a couple of hours. Sure, that's fine. But obviously, I'm guessing your goal is bigger than that, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we try and create a relationship too. We've been back to the Aboriginal community in Yarrabah 3 times. We continue to go back to the Tiwi Islands. We're up to our 3rd year in a row there. I've visited and gone back to schools, special needs schools here in Victoria. So the ball and the sport is extremely important, but it's the hope for these kids that someone cares about them. A lot of these kids are in destructive family environments with they don't have, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them don't have the positive mentoring. So it's for them to realise that when they see the footy, even when it's flat, even when it pops, even when it can't be used, yeah, someone cares about me. And that hope is the most important thing in life. You've got to have hope. And when we work with run a cricket program, volunteer in at Port Phillip Maximum Security Prison with special needs prisoners, thanks to an amazing lady called Michelle Embun, who's the unit coordinator. And, you know, we're outside with them playing cricket a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday morning. It started to rain. And they were so excited running around, feeling the rain on their faces. And if we weren't in there playing cricket, they don't get that opportunity to go outside. And it's, you know, those simple things that the power of sport makes that much of a difference. And it is to say to them, really, that someone cares about you. That, like you asked me what the impact is, that someone out there cares about you. And whatever situation you're in, there is someone that cares about you. And, you know, that's the thousands of people involved with Footys4All that have worked, volunteer. Every single person in our organisation is a volunteer, down from Patrick McGorry down to Ethan Kadeo, who gave up his tooth fairy money to buy a football for someone that hasn't had that opportunity. And when I tell the people in prison that I work with, or the kids that we volunteer with, we're volunteering with in the Juvenile Justice Centre, that we do all this for free, that, you know, that really opens their eyes up too, that it's not all about money, it's not all about success. There are people out there that care about you and want to help you and give you some support, and they're doing it for the right reasons too.
Exactly. I'm interested to know, you drop off the ball, and then, you know, we talked about there's that element of they know that, you know, Michael cares about us, Footys4All cares about us. Are you aligned with a counselling service or a group of professionals that can work with these people that truly do need the help long term?
Yeah, no. We just we just go in ourselves, and I mean, through discussions, you know, we try and steer people in the right direction where we can, through the knowledge of the area. With the Aboriginal kids, we've got such great respect through Michael Long being involved with us that we meet with the elders and we show respect going in, and nothing ever happens without any permission. No, I mean, the short answer is no. We just do what we do and use their common sense to give people opportunities for further support as well.
Sure, mate. And perhaps with that sort of spike from your involvement, they may look at other avenues of getting support and whatnot from there.
Yeah, you'd hope that, again, we inspire them to see that there are people. Yes, we all know there's plenty of nasty, sad, mean people in the world, but, hopefully they can see through us and our organisation that there's plenty of good people out there. And as I said, there's thousands of people involved with us on a voluntary basis across Australia that just want to make a difference. I mean, Gandhi said, didn't he, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mate. Be the change.
And it's as easy as. We've also now started to, it drives my wife bananas, you might imagine, because it all runs out my driveway and my shed, that people drop off good condition runners, good condition clothes. One of the girls that I coach in the Penley Nesson Grammar School under-18 footy team, Tabby Knight, her mum, I was just having a chat to, and she said she supports a lady that's doing it tough with 6 young kids. And I said, well, I've got some soft toys at home, I've got some runners at home, I've got some school books at home that have all been dropped off by volunteers.
Wow.
Can that help? And she said yes. And then we've been lucky enough to link through the organisation won the Pride of Australia medal down here in Victoria before Christmas. They chose, the Herald Sun News Corp chose 8 people and organisations across Victoria that were making a difference. And we were lucky enough to be given that honour.
Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, it's great reward for effort that shows to everyone involved we're on the right track. People are seeing that we're making a difference, and
you're getting noticed too. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just great reward for effort. Everyone does it for free. Everyone's working jobs. Everyone's got families. People don't have to get involved. They don't have to give up their time and money, and it just keeps everyone going. And through that, I met an amazing lady called Kate Austin that runs a foundation that delivers shampoo and conditioner and toothpaste and toothbrushes. And now we're linked with her. So when we go into Aboriginal communities, we're able to use her contacts to give these kids care, hygiene packages. And the other lady I was talking about, Kathy Beard, Tabby's and one of my footballers' mums. Now, as we've organised for her to take down a heap of bedding that's been donated from to people and shampoo, and we'll provide ongoing support. I try where I can through the organisation and people we support. It's ongoing. It's not just a one-off.
That's great, mate. So impressive. It's awesome that it's snowballing too, and it's gaining momentum from these other people and these other organisations.
And that's what when you saw that through the $10 that you put up on Facebook,
how cool was that?
And such a simple thing can create such a ripple effect, and that's I didn't set this up to do that, but people have seen what I've been able to create with amazing support. I mean, I'm just the front person. Nothing happens without amazing support from all those people we've mentioned. But it shows that people can make a difference if their next door neighbour's not feeling well, it's their family down the street struggling with a heap of kids. You can give them some food, you can give them some fruit, you can give them your runners that are brand new and you're throwing out because you don't fit them. You can give them just support. Say hello. Does it take much to say hello to your neighbour? We've got an amazing street here where I live. All the kids are out playing basketball, they play footy, they play cricket, all the mums and dads, and in summer we're all out there doing it with them. So you can create a community, but you've got to make the first move. You've got to be the change you want to see. You can't just sit there on the couch and keep whinging about the government and this and that. You've got to get out there and do it, and you can. I mean, Footys4All, 20,000 balls we've given out, and as you said, created such an amazing ripple effect that people are going out and doing their own things, which is, that's what creates the positive world that we need to see. And the media don't show it. That's another great thing about Facebook, isn't it, Matty? That the things that you're doing and lots of things that people are doing, people are seeing all these positive things, and they're not getting bogged down or depressed about ISIS and about terrorism and about all the nasty things in the world. They can see all the good things, and they can see that they can be part of it and they can change it as well.
Exactly, mate. So well said. And I think, mainstream media leaves a lot to be desired when it's just death and drama and the dark side of planet Earth, when there's so much more going on, as you proved so well. Mate, if people do want to get involved and help you on this journey that you're on, what's the best way they can help out?
Yeah, I love them. I mean, like you, it's great to they can join us on Facebook. I mean, Footys4All. just on Facebook, Footys4All on Instagram. They can message me through that. We've got a website, www.footys4all.com.au. $15 donation gets a footy anywhere in Australia, or basketball, or a rugby ball, or a netball. We'd love to have more corporate support like anyone. I mean, we pay, my wife and I, and everyone who's involved, pay our own airfares to all these places that we go to. I mean, great to get an airline sponsor such as Qantas or Virgin involved, or Jetstar, the corporate support, and it's basically anyone that wants to make a difference in the world, Matty. So, and can do it in a small way in their area, whether it's in Darwin, whether it's in Perth, whether it's in Queensland, Tasmania. Love to hear from you. Get involved through Facebook, get involved through Instagram, and you'll see such a positive story of amazing people. And really, as we've said, the resilience of the kids. It's the kids that we do this for, and the difference that it makes in their lives is truly amazing. And you can be part of that through just sharing our story on Facebook, or taking a photo of yourself going out and doing something and good in the world as well.
So well said, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I used to have someone in the gym, and I loved her to bits. And I used to say to her, if I had 100 of you, I'd be happy. So, Michael, I just want to say, mate, if the world had 100 of you, it'd be a better place.
Oh, thanks, Matty. Appreciate all your support. And I'm just the front person, mate. My wife deserves all the credit, and my amazing children, Thomas, Lily and Ben, and my parents for mentoring me, and all those other people we've spoken about. Nothing works without an amazing support network, and I continue to be inspired by the kids that we've been lucky enough to reach and to work with and continue to work with. And for all those kids watching out there, don't give up hope. Footys4All cares about you, and we'll certainly get to you at some stage, whether you're in America or Afghanistan or Fiji or Darwin or outback Western Australia. Just maintain your hope, and that's the most important thing in life. With all the other people listening too, just if you're going through hell, Winston Churchill said, "Keep going,
keep going,
keep going, don't you? Don't give up."
Well done, mate. Great place to finish. Good to talk to you, Mike. Talk soon.
Thanks, Matty.
Good day, mate. Bye bye.